Hello and welcome to the United Stand, possibly our most important video of the summer because it involves you and it's a massive subject. What top 5 Manchester United players would you get rid of this summer? And not what you think Jose Mourinho will get rid of. What would you, as a Manchester United 5, what 5 players would you get rid of? And just to add a little bit of a spice to it, a few of you have been commenting about this, what is now retro United Stand top, because we don't use this logo anymore. But we will be reading your comments below. Give us your top 5 and why you would get rid of each of those players. We'll read through and the winner will get one of these as a prize, and also a bonus prize, a signed pair of Alex's pants. Soiled or clean, it's up to you. I'm only joking with the latter, but you can win one of these. So let's get straight into it. We'll discuss where I've been thinking about this along the way. Do comment on mine, but also get thinking about yours, so you can comment below. In at number 5 for me, Adnan Januzaj. Now I know this might be controversial, but when I've been thinking about this, it's not as simple as just saying get rid of Rooney, Memphis, people like that. I mean, I wouldn't get rid of either of those, as you'll see in a moment. But you've got to look at the squad, and I think whether you're taking over Tesco's, Liverpool, or something good like Manchester United, you don't want to have success with the entirety of your previous manager's staff. You want to make your own changes so that when success comes, you get the full credit for it. Mourinho will have to keep some of Louis van Gaal's squad. He can't get rid of 30-odd players, but he will want to bring his own in. And when you look at the midfield, I'll go through the names now. Carrick, Herrera, Schneiderlin, Schweinsteiger, Ashley Young, Lingard, Pereira, Memphis, Martial, Fellaini, Mata, Januzaj. There's probably more. Daley Blind can play there. You can get to 15 players to cover those midfield positions wide and centrally very easily. We all think we need at least one centre midfielder and definitely a right midfielder brought in, which means we need to clear players out from there. At the end of the day, people can say, oh, it's really insensitive to do a top 5 United players you'd get rid of. Like I said, if you work at Tesco, you don't do your job properly, you get sacked and you're on about £7 an hour. These are Manchester United players who are on hundreds of thousands of pounds a year, and if they're not good enough, they go. That's the reality, that's football, that's what makes it great to talk about, and if they've not performed, then they go, and I don't have any sympathy for them. Januzaj, I don't know whether you're a fan of, well, you must be a fan of the class of '92 if you're a fan of Manchester United. It'd be madness if you weren't, but if you've read the book, 2 Nevilles, Beckham, Butt, Scholes, Giggs, all came through as the big players from class of '92, but there was a lad called Ben Thornley who was part of that Youth Cup winning side, who was right up there as being probably just behind Giggs as the best player. He got a bad injury, he was out for about 18 months in those very important progression development years, and when he came back they'd all surpassed him, and unfortunately he never really made it as a first team player for Manchester United. Januzaj's done nothing for 2 years is my point, and he's only just turned 21, and the last 2 years he's done nothing to develop or progress in a Manchester United shirt. He went to Dortmund, he got sent back. 2 years ago he was part of the Belgian World Cup squad. He isn't part of the Euro squad because he's regressed. He only played well under Moyes, he's done nothing for 2 years, and I think he's missed the bus in a sense, because those were 2 years where he could have been really progressing, one of the best young players in Europe, and he isn't. And to be harsh, I think he needs to go. He's not defensively brilliant, he's not super fast, he's not grabbed hold of his opportunity. I'd love it if he was given a chance, but I just think, for me, to clear a space, certainly on the wide, he's got to go. And to be honest, when I was thinking about it, if you're getting rid of people on the wide, you're either going to get rid of Pereira, Memphis, Januzaj, Lingard. Januzaj would go for me. Mourinho may even get rid of another one, but I would only lose one, and that would be Januzaj. So that's my reasoning behind that. I just don't think he's done enough. Harsh but fair. Number 4, Marcos Rojo. No problems with saying that. Signed 2 years ago. Argentinian Phil Jones. The one thing I would say about this Rojo is he doesn't discriminate. He's happy to get skinned by Shrewsbury right winger, or Cameron Durant for Norwich, or a decent player, anybody. And that's the one thing I noticed, especially this season and towards the end of the season. He was just consistently getting skinned by everybody. And the bad thing as well, for a tall, quite tough player, he was getting beaten in the box a lot, and a lot of goals were his fault for bad positioning or not putting the right challenge in for him across. Personally, you build your team on having a reliable defence. He's not reliable, and Mourinho certainly does. But personally, I just think Rojo, he's not even that young, is he? I think he's mid to late 20s. It's just an accident waiting to happen, and gets skinned way too much and just isn't Manchester United quality for me, so he goes 100%. The next one, number 3, I'm doing it in order, so my third most popular, the number 1 is the one player I would get rid of out of all these 5, but these are the 5 I would get rid of. Get commenting below, get thinking about yours. Just quick note, I'll talk about the Renault thing in a minute. Number 3, Juan Mata. I've said it, and I know that's going to be really unpopular, but there's reasons for it. I think he's a bit of a flat track bully. I think his stats are quite good, but he doesn't really do it against the big teams, apart from Liverpool away last year where he was superb. £37 million fee. I don't feel he's justified that. A lot of us have said for a long time he needs to play that number 10 position, which he's had opportunity to do. You know, Rooney was injured out for a while, this is the last season just gone, and he has had that opportunity. He's never really grasped it. He just isn't good enough for Manchester United title winning side. I think Mourinho will get rid of him anyway, but to be honest, I think he's had his 2.5 years, he's never really grasped that opportunity. It's a big shame because so many footballers, especially British ones, they've got their brains in their feet and they probably couldn't even read the front of a dictionary, let alone what was in there. But Mata is a true gentleman and intellect. He does his blog every week, he's involved in charities, he's a really nice bloke. But unfortunately, so is my postman, and I wouldn't play him for Manchester United. It's harsh to be fair again, and I just think Mata, we could get 15 to 25 million pounds for him. He's not going to be happy to be a squad player, and we can go and get an improvement. He's had 2.5 years. It's just not worked out. I am sad about it, but I think brains over heart, he has to go, and he would be in my top 5. Unfortunately, I do like him. I wish him all the best, but you know, football, it's about winning, and it's just not worked for Mata. Wasted on the right midfield, I will admit, by Van Gaal, but even when he's had the opportunity at number 10, I think you've almost got to build a side around him, and it's just not going to happen, is it? So he is at number 3 for me. Number 2, Phil Jones. I talked about the midfield and creating spaces so that players can be brought in. I think centre-back is interesting because we've bought Bailly, we've got Chris Smalling. I nearly thought about Daley Blind, but you know why I wouldn't put Daley Blind in my top 5 is because he played really well at left-back the season before last for a few games when we did well. He's played defensive midfield. He played last season at centre-back for a whole season and did well. Granted, he did get exposed against a couple of teams, but I don't think he's a title-winning centre-back anyway. But he reminds me of Phil Jones in the centre. Phil Neville, John O'Shea. Utility players are so important in a title-winning side or a top 4 challenging side, and he could be that player who plays 20 to 30 games a season. I would keep him for that reason. I don't know whether he's happy with that. I don't know whether Mourinho wants to keep him. I think he might go, but this isn't Mourinho's top 5, it's mine. I would keep Daley Blind because I think as a squad player he'd be absolutely superb. So he isn't in there. But we have got problems at centre-back. We need at least 3 good centre-backs. I don't rate Rojo, he's got to go. Phil Jones would be my number 2 player in my top 5. I don't know how he got in the FA Cup squad. Where was he all season? Cameron Porthwick-Jackson, Varela, they've been players all season that have had to play because the likes of Phil Jones and Rojo have been getting, you know, injuries all season, and then he comes and gets part of the FA Cup squad. I know that's not his fault, but we'll just have to get rid of it. I'm just being told my tea's ready, don't worry, I'll still carry on. So yeah, Phil Jones would be in there. Injuries, on the basic level, too many injuries, and you can't rely on him, and you need a centre-back you can rely on, and there are too many injuries. He has to go for that reason. Why we gave him a new contract this summer, I just do not know. We also need to buy another centre-back because Bailly and Smalling need reliable cover, or mix it up between the 3. But also, Phil Jones, when we bought him, he sort of fits into that Anthony Martial sort of signing. I think he was 18, 19, he'd done well for Blackburn Rovers, we spent quite a lot of money on him, and it was worthwhile, but it's not worked out because he's not developed, he's had a lot of injuries, and actually, for his age now, he's not a very good centre-back. He's Calamity Jones, not just because he gets injured all the time, but his approach to football, he's dangerous, he's tackling, he's haphazard, his positional sense not great, he hasn't got superb pace, he's not that good on the ball. Maybe Mourinho could come in and turn him into a top centre-back, but he'll always fall down because of his injury record. He just goes for me. Nothing personal. Manchester United, we're Manchester United fans, we're very passionate, and I just think seeing a player constantly injured, picking up the sort of money he does, the ability he's got, he just goes for me. So Phil Jones is in at number 2. Number 1, you might not be surprised by this, I've been consistent since the day we bought him. transfer deadline under David Moyes on that day, right at the end of it when the deal was going through. I wish the fax machine had broken then. I never wanted him to sign. At Everton, you know who I'm talking about, Marouane Fellaini. At Everton, he was a very, very good number 10. He's got superb ball control. Leighton Baines, Coleman from them flanks would hit the long ball up to him. He'd control it, bring others into play. As a number 10 in that sort of side, very good. Not Manchester United class, and we've never played him to that as that sort of player. Van Gaal tried it a little bit towards the end of the season and had some success. But we're not a long ball team, and we play him in the midfield. He's not a midfielder. He's got no pace. His passing skills awful. His positional sense is abysmal. But I've been consistent with him about 2 years, even when loads of people like Fellaini, and I used to get a lot of stick saying, "Oh, Fellaini's all right. He's a nice bloke." It's not personal. I don't want to go for a drink with him. He's probably a really nice lad. All I judge him on is in a Manchester United shirt, and he's not a Manchester United player. He's never been a Manchester United player, and you'll never win titles, league titles, with a player like that. I don't think any side in the top 10 would want him in it. He's a sort of Sunderland level player. I don't understand him. He's associated now with 2 bad reigns. Van Gaal played him a lot, Moyes played him a lot, and I'll be amazed if Mourinho doesn't sell him. I have a horrible feeling we will keep him, and I'll be mocked forever by Fellaini in a United shirt. But the big reason, even if you like him or not, what I would think, taking all the emotion that I don't want him here and I want him gone, taking all that emotion out, he's a red card waiting to happen. People say, well, Roy Keane and Cantona were like that, so you can't tie him with that brush. Keane and Cantona didn't throw elbows around. It's cowardly. And also, Keane and Cantona were enigmas, match winners, world-class talents. Fellaini isn't a world-class talent. He doesn't get away with what he does. For Everton a few years ago, he threw an elbow against Shawcross for Stoke. He got a 3-match ban. He never learns. All last season he kept doing it. It's a disgrace. It's embarrassment. You don't want to see people in the Manchester United shirt doing that. And also, his card is well and truly marked. I mean, next season, the referees were sort of doing it towards the end of last season. He's going to pick up a lot of yellow cards. He's going to pick up red cards. He's incapable himself. I don't know what he's like as a man or a personality, but he's clearly not that bright, because he cannot take that out of his game. He's forever throwing elbows. He'll pick up a lot of red cards. So even on that very basic level, his luggage we just don't need to carry. Put him in the department's lounge, leave him, put him on a plane wherever and let him go. I'll drive him. I'll drive the plane, not even a pilot. He's got to go. I'm not convinced he will. This isn't what I think Mourinho will do. This is what I would do, and he has to go. Not a good footballer, not a Manchester United footballer, and an absolute embarrassment the way he conducts himself on the pitch. I think throwing elbows is so cowardly. You can break people's eye sockets, jaw, end their careers, and you know, an opposition player is going for the ball, their eyes are on the ball, and you're going up there elbowing them. You know, a tackle that's 50-50 and you leave your foot in but you take the ball, that, you know, we've all played football, that can happen, but actually throwing your elbow at somebody who's not focusing on what you're doing is just cowardly, and I don't know how anybody can defend that. But for me personally, it comes down to the fact that he's just not a very good footballer, not somebody I get excited about, and not somebody I want to see in a Manchester United shirt. If we kept him on the bench for the last 10 minutes of a game where we need a goal, and we put him on at that number 10 position to hold the ball up on the chest and bring other people into play, fine. I haven't got a massive problem with that. I still want him to be sold. I haven't got a massive problem with that. But as a defensive midfielder, which he thinks he is, he's having a laugh. He's having an absolute laugh. So anyway, that's my top 5. Januzaj, Rojo, Mata, Phil Jones, Marouane Fellaini are my top 5. A few people missed out. Memphis, I'm not convinced he can. I think he'll get the freedom to attack, but he is a bit lazy. You've got to be able to work back under a Mourinho side. His neck could be on the chopping block. Blind, I think, as well. Herrera, Schneiderlin, Schweinsteiger, we know Carrick's staying. Will all 3 of them survive when Mourinho wants to bring in another centre midfielder of himself, and you've got Fosu Mensah coming through? I just don't know. Mourinho's top 5 we will do later in the week. This is my top 5, and it's your top 5 is the most important thing. Get commented below. Give us your thoughts. You can win one of these. Feel free to comment on mine and what you think of my top 5. I think Januzaj, Mata, Fellaini may create some debate, which is what we're all about. Football's all about opinion. That's what the United Stand's about. Please do like the video and share it, and let everybody know about the United Stand. We're nothing without your opinion, absolutely everything with it. We continue to grow because of you lot and your word of mouth. So just keep spreading the word. We are 100% independent. We don't beg for retweets or advertise or use other media companies to grow. We just do it naturally to give a fan opinion, and we'll always be about that. The most important thing is to us is the fans, is Manchester United fans, and you having your say in a world of football that's so focused on taking the money out of your pocket. We want you to have a voice, so have your voice. We'll give you one of these, and get commenting below. Thanks everybody for watching.